Okay, everyone. In this video, we want to talk about one thing, right? So we have here our Burstfire 2-in-1 machine, right? It's got a prep center, it's got a annealing machine, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about, swaging, reaming your primer pockets, especially when it comes to 233 or 300 blackout. I mean, these primer pockets are just a pain in the ass. I go through probably 5,000 new cases or so, maybe more. Any given month. So I process a lot of these things, and they're just a pain in the ass, right? Because ideally is you size, you trim, and after you trim, you come here and you chamfer, you deburr, and ideally, right, really quick, simple step, 1, 2, and you 3, and you're done, and you're ready to put them through your press and get them loaded. But that hasn't been the case. And especially if if you check your primer pockets, if you have these primer pocket gauges, you can check and see if they go in. And the problem with these, reamers is that you can sit here and you can cut and cut and cut, and you can put pressure on it, and then you take it out, you measure it, and they just won't fit, right? They won't go in. So unless you have these gauges, a lot of times you find out after crushing your primer pockets to know they were not properly, reamed. And you look at the brush, you're like, hey, I cut a good amount out of it. Why doesn't it work? It's just the way it is. So for me, up to this point, I have always done it. I got tired of these things. And by the way, Hornady is probably one of the better ones out there. It's sharp, it cuts well, but nonetheless, reamer in general, they're just not that great. So I always do it as a last step, and I do it on a swager. So that's another thing, right? It's a waste of time. You have to do it as a separate step. Although it's effective, it's a separate step. So what we have done, is I don't want to say reinvented, kind of redesign how a traditional reamer will work. And and I'll show you guys in a little bit, but first thing I want to show you is why reamers suck, right? So we'll take some of these stubborn cases, usually FC or PSDs, and and I'll show you, right? And that's a pretty simple step. But once we get to this step, I'm cutting, and you heard that. You can see the primer pocket is clearly cut, but you saw me cut for a good 3 seconds, put it all the way through, but they just won't fit, right? When you come back, you go, all right, let's give it another shot. See brass flying off, and it's cutting even more off the pockets, and you try it, and it still won't fit. Halfway there. All right, let's cut it some more. There we go. Now it finally goes in. All right, let's grab another one. I'm just using some of these more stubborn cases. All right, give it a shot, and they won't go. Let's give it a good move. And now they go. And still won't go. Barely. All right. So this is why I don't like it. And sometimes you really have to push down on it. And that's the problem with any kind of reamer. And the Hornady one, like I said, is pretty good, but it still have this problem. So it's always been a pain in the ass. But next, I want to show you how we have solved this problem. Okay, I have installed one of our Burstfire, Primer Pocket Reamers, and they come in, in this kit that comes with, a handle, large and small primer pocket, cleaner, large and small primer pocket reamer, and also these two chamfer and deburr tools. And and one of the things we set out to do, when we made these, is we want to make sure that just like any tools, you want your tools to stay sharp and last as long as as you own them. And that's just not the case today with any of these pocket tools. I'm sorry, not these chamfer and deburring tools especially. They get dull, and you can hear it, you can feel it. After a few thousand rounds, they just don't stay sharp. So for ours, this is probably 20-30,000 cases through, and they cut like butter. And they still work extremely well. And that's what we're looking for. But we really redesigned this. I wouldn't say redesigned, but we made some changes to the way a reamer is made. Normally, when you look at one of them that we just cut, you can see, right, the outside being cut, and it really doesn't matter how much of the outside I cut. There's a certain part of the brass that you need to cut, which is slightly inside the mouth, right, on the inside, right. And normally these reamers, they cut at 40-degree angle. And what we had done is change that angle, and also the the diameter as well. And the result is it's game changing in my life changing, at least for me, right? Because something that takes a lot of work, or it's a separate step, now is simply a tap and go. And literally, it's a tap and go process. So now you can come here and 1, 2, tap and go, and that's it, right? It's not it's not exaggeration. You barely just put it in, let it cut a little bit, and that's it. You can trust that every single one of them will be done, right? And I'll demonstrate and show you guys that. But the key is that you don't push it, don't overdo it, because you can't overcut it. A little bit goes a long way, right? Tap it, let it hear it cut, here it goes, zip, and that's it. And that's all you need. So let's walk through a few of these cases. I'm going to use my left hand. So, I'm not that great with my left hand, but let's give it a shot so you guys can get a look. Oh. All right, there we go. Goes in. These are these same stubborn brass. All right, tap and go. Goes in. All right, these are the same stubborn brass. FCs. They're horrible, by the way. All right. Oh. Fits perfectly. And that's it. I mean, bet you I've never seen anything, a reamer go that fast, right? And if we look at it, there's, you can barely see any cuts on it. Again, right? It's just, all you need is a little bit. That's all it takes. And so, so for me, I set out to kind of, and that's the thing with, reloading, right? There's something we can live with. There are certain things we cannot. There are some things we don't mind, and there are certain things we hate. And for me, this is one of them, right? So just like everything we make, we're looking to, most of it is to solve a problem that I can't, that I hate myself, right? And that's kind of how a lot of products born. I know it's pretty simple, pretty straight, a pretty simple tool. But I think, if we can solve, one small problem at a time, improve the process efficiency in the process and reloading, I think this helps everyone out. So that's all I got. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you.